Moana is back to take us on another adventure across the oceans.
So serious.
But do you know all the terrifying villains that are gonna try and mess up the plans of this Disney princess?
Now I kinda miss the lava monster.
The second movie about our Polynesian princess might feature two sinister villains. They are determined to stop our heroine from breaking a curse. In the trailer, Moana explains that before Maui stole the heart of Te Fiti, the people of Motunui wanted to connect with everyone in the world, uniting all the beaches and cultures. But because of the thieving demigod, that wasn't possible. With the Te Fiti problem resolved, our protagonist decides to carry on the legacy of her ancestors, but the villains in the film won't want her to interfere anymore. The questions that remain are, why do the antagonists want to keep all the peoples apart? And what would they lose if they didn't? You already know what to do. Grab your popcorn and get ready to discuss who the villains in the next Moana movie are. Here comes another episode of Cinewave. One of the villains in Moana 2 is Matangi, a mysterious and enigmatic character with a strong connection to the moon and bats. We know she has a complicated past with Maui. She might be his ex-girlfriend, and since we know the demigod is a major troublemaker, their relationship didn't end on good terms. Matangi is a Polynesian word referring to the wind, something crucial for navigation, and this character might have something to do with the breeze that guides the boats. We know Moana's ancestors were voyagers, and likely needed the help of the gods of wind and oceans, but when Maui stole the heart of Te Fiti, it became impossible for the people of Motunui to continue their journeys. That might be exactly what made Matangi hate the shapeshifter, because by stealing the most important object from the Island of Life, Matangi may have lost her navigators, and consequently, her importance to humans, no longer being worshipped as a goddess. Let's not forget that even Moana's own father didn't believe in the legends. Another possibility is that Matangi is an adaptation of two goddesses. The first one is the legend of Lutoji, who was a princess that became a demigoddess of fertility and is symbolized by bats. The other could be Hina, a name that represents a great feminine power, and in this case, she would be the goddess of the moon. As we saw in the trailer, Matangi is not only represented by bats, but there's also a sinister moon behind her. The mythology from which Moana is adapted suggests that Maui could be this goddess's husband, which again explains why he's a target for this villain. By committing the crime in the first movie, he was expelled from the divine pantheon, and we imagine his partner might have suffered the same punishment. Do you remember in the first movie how the islands were losing their life, and that it was all Maui's fault? If Matangi represents fertility, there's yet another reason for the antagonist to despise her ex-boyfriend. It's also worth noting that it's quite possible this character might switch sides and forgive Maui, and the two could become a couple again, which is something very Disney to happen. As we already know, our heroine won't be alone on this adventure. She's bringing 3 more crew members, and there's a sinister theory among some fans that one of these companions will be a traitor, secretly allied with another big villain in the movie, who we'll talk about in a moment. The first one of them is Moni, a tall and strong guy who likely appeared in the first movie as the boy who faints at Grandma Tala's story, and who also faints when he sees Maui for the first time. Moni seems to have been a disciple of Grandma Tala because he knows the island's legends like no one else, and he's the one who explains the curse to our heroine. That's probably why she chooses him to be a part of the crew. However, he also seems to be quite a coward, or maybe even a bit of a fool, since in all the scenes he doesn't come across as very bright, which is quite suspicious. Could he be pretending? Or maybe he's trying to sabotage the mission? We'll find out soon when the movie is released. And have you already reserved your ticket to see Moana 2? If so, comment with #cinema so we know! The other character is Loto, who apparently is a boat engineer, as if that were even possible. What? You didn't get it? Hold on, I'll explain. Doesn't it seem a bit suspicious that someone knows so much about boats in a world where sailing was banned until just yesterday? Sure, the first movie resolved that issue, but Moana was the first to sail again, and it was Maui himself who taught her how to properly navigate a boat. So why would the princess need someone who knows about boats? Maybe she's working with Matangi, and the movie could introduce 2 female villains. The other crew member will be Kele, the oldest person on the island and a great farmer. Moana will need his help because this kind old man knows all about food, and since the journey will be long, she might need that knowledge for where they're headed. That's why she chose the best when it comes to plants. But this could be a mistake, as this character might be someone who, unlike Grandma Tala, didn't want things to change. Maybe he's someone who prefers to bury the navigator culture, just like Moana's father once did. We've mentioned that the villain could be Matangi, but that's also questionable, as we know the Great Challenge is a terrible storm that prevents sailors from crossing the ocean. Matangi could be just one of the villains. The difference between a true villain and an antagonist is that an antagonist can be just an obstacle standing in the hero's way, but not necessarily the biggest problem in the story. On the other hand, a villain is someone who wants to crush the protagonist's dreams and life. In this case, we're talking about Nalo, the mighty god of storms. To talk about him, we have to go back to the early moments of the first movie, when Grandma Tala explains that there were only oceans until the first island, Te Fiti, emerged, and she brought life to the island, sharing this gift with all the islands. In the trailer, we find out that Nalo cast a spell on the storms, preventing the connection between the peoples. We also learn that Moana's ancestors were on a mission to unite all the islands of Te Fiti, but Nalo stopped them. But if you remember the first movie, what hindered the boats was the demon Te Kā, who was actually the transformed goddess. So now there's another storm god trying to destroy Moana and stop the connection between the islands. Isn't that a plot hole? Maybe not. The theory suggests that Nalo always hated Te Fiti because she spread life and connected the peoples of the Polynesian islands. This made Nalo a weak god. As with Te Fiti, humans conquered the seas and stopped fearing the rain. Nalo could have been the evil god who manipulated Maui into stealing the heart of Te Fiti, thus putting an end to the crossing of the seas without fear. You might remember it was a terrible storm that killed Moana's father's best friend, traumatizing the island's leader. Nalo must have seen the two young men trying to challenge his authority and was the one who destroyed the boat, causing the young man's death. I don't know about you, but to me, that's a great reason for this villain to want to end Moana's and Maui's lives. And perhaps that's why he would have a mole in the Polynesian princess's crew. The story will revolve around a journey to an island to break Nalo's curse, but why didn't he appear in the first movie? It's simple. He had Te Kā to scare people and sink their ships, and only now has he shown up because Te Fiti has returned, and that made him furious. Stealing the heart and destroying the life of the islands would bring back the time when there was only the sea, and that's why Nalo might be the true culprit behind Maui's crime. And to make sure you're not the one missing out on our next videos, remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated. According to our information, the island that once connected the ocean's people is called Motufitu. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The villain has cast a curse around this island, and Moana needs to get there to break the spell. But why is this island so important? Nalo likely fears this island because, as we know, Maui was once human and was transformed into a demigod. In the trailer, the villain himself says that a human won't be able to break the curse, and maybe he's right. We're all well aware that Disney is a master at giving hints about what might happen through simple dialogue. In the first trailer, we see the princess of Motunui being greeted by her younger sister, a little girl named Simia. This younger sister remarks that Moana has been spending too much time away from the island, which makes sense since she's on the mission of their ancestors, but it clashes with her responsibilities as a leader. Let's not forget that Moana is supposed to be the island's chief, learning from her father, but if she's out at sea, then no one is learning how to be the next leader. Sure, we know that the heroine's father is alive, but if I told you that this could change, would you promise not to cry? Maybe the movie will end up taking Moana's father's life, just like it did with Grandma Tala, who became a manta ray. Take a look at this scene from the trailer, where Moana is under the sea and greeted by an enormous whale shark. This animal could very well be the spirit of someone connected to the protagonist, showing up at a crucial moment to guide her toward her destiny. It's possible that it's her father. Going back to the importance of Motufitu, maybe that's the place where a human, who according to Nalo would never break the curse, can become a demigod capable of doing so. This could explain Nalo's hatred for Moana and the people of Motunui. Grandma Tala told her granddaughter that someone would go to Maui and convince him to return the heart of Te Fiti. It's like a prophecy that came true, right? The villain must be aware of this prophecy, which could explain why he prevented Moana's father from leaving the island when he was young. The god of storms may be afraid that Moana will fulfill an ancient prophecy about becoming a demigod involving Maui, Te Fiti, and Matangi. This leads us to think that at the end of the film, Moana might not become the leader of Motunui, her sister Simia will. Moana will be so great that she'll transform into a demigod, becoming Nalo's biggest enemy, likely serving as the protector of sailors against the storms. I can't wait to find out which theories are right. We'll be joining Moana on her journey in November, but until then, to keep the fun going, we've selected 2 videos for you to choose from. We'll see you in the next video!